Hi guys, welcome back to Simply Watching TV. Today we are going to do our holiday movies. So as mentioned before, we'll be doing Home Alone and Almost Christmas. I'm excited for both of them because both movies you can comment a lot on. There's a lot of hot takes on both movies. I have a pimple and I'm really sad about it because it looks disgusting right now. Like, it's so big and it's just like, I just keep looking at it. So, whatever. But let's get into it. I'm not trying to have this be a long video. I'm trying to cut when I do movies, cut them short, because the last movie review I did, it was like an hour. I'm not trying to do all that. So let's just discuss about all the things that drive us crazy in Home Alone. And some of the good things, maybe, I don't know. No, they're good things too. And let's see if we have the same opinions. Let's see, if we have the same thoughts about this dysfunctional big old family. Both movies that I'm doing, both dysfunctional big families. Here's the thing. Dysfunctional families are just families dysfunctional. Like, there's never like a thing, right? So anyway, so let's just get right into it. So bada boom, bada bing. We start at the McAllister household. House is buzzing. It's like people everywhere. And there's so many whys in like this first scene. Like, they're all obviously getting ready. They're going. I'm sorry. So sorry. For those who have never seen Home Alone, the story is basically about a family who is traveling international. They're going to Paris for Christmas. And as they're packing in the hustle and bustle, they forget one of their children. The main star, Kevin McAllister, they forget him at home. And during this, like, while he's left at home completely by himself. Like, they didn't leave another child. There's not like an adult that stayed behind. Like, no, like, he's completely at home by himself. And coincidentally, during this time, robbers plan on robbing their home. They've been like casing the neighborhood and like keeping an eye on this home, and they just want to rob it as they're robbing other homes in the neighborhood. But they've had their eye on this one. And he's like, rob who? So while he's there, he defends the home, he protects the home basically. And spoiler alert for those who have not seen Home Alone, but I mean, honestly, this movie came out in 1990. So if you haven't seen Home Alone and this is a spoiler for you, it was meant, babe. It was meant. Like, it was meant to happen at this point. So they don't end up robbing the house. Actually, he does them in. Like, he has booby traps set all over the house and wears them out, which we will get into later in the review. But, they end up getting caught by the cops. A neighbor helps him out as well. So it turns out to be a pretty heartwarming story as a family comes together. And he also kind of redeems himself, I guess, as you can say. Like, in the beginning of the movie, he kind of has this reputation of being annoying, like this annoying little kid who's like good for nothing. But in the end, it turns out like, no, like, he really helped y'all a lot, because these robbers would have came in your house and messed it completely up for Christmas. But he saved the day. So, and kind of matured over time, having to be in a whole house by himself. But we will get into that as well. So that is what the story is about. A little recap really quick for, again, those who have never seen the movie. So now let's get into it. So the movie starts the night before they are off to the airport and traveling to Paris. So everybody is over everybody basically who's going on the trip is at their house. Whether they live there or not, they are at the house. So it's cousins, it's uncles, it's nieces, it's everybody at the house, and they're eating there, they're packing there. I'm just trying to, like, in the real, like, a real situation, that would have never worked. And guess what? Me and my family, we would never have been there. We'll meet you at the airport. One, because not only do I need to pack for, and sorry, really quick, why wasn't nobody packed? Y'all are leaving tomorrow to go to Paris, not to go to the next state over. Y'all are going to Paris. How come nobody's packed? I just feel like it's so much of a hassle to one, not only have to pack for an international trip, but you have to take all of that stuff that you will need to somebody else's house, and then you all leave from there. Like, I get all wanting to be in the same transportation to make sure y'all all get there at the same time, but no, everybody be at your respective houses. Maybe the only person who probably should have been there is probably the girl whose parents lived in Paris. But then again, what's her backstory? Like, why aren't you with your parents? But this is probably what it would have been a much better system. Everybody meet at the main house, like whoever's house or whoever put together the trip, whoever's house, which is the McAllister's house, meet at that house. We have the bigger driveway, we have the space. Everybody meets here. And then we get the vans and we go to the airport, but we're meeting here the day of. So if you would have needed to tell them to be at your house at 5 to make sure they were there by 7 to leave and get to the airport in time, then do it. Like, why do we all need to spend the night and be all over the house? Like, it's crazy. Like, it was a madhouse. Which to me kind of sets, like, I like it. I like when it's like a busy, like, opening scene, because it's just, especially like with family and stuff, because my family's small, so I'm not used to that. I'm used to very like small things, like not a bunch of people running around and just like family everywhere. Like, I'm not used to that. So I like to watch it on TV, but it was so chaotic. Like, there's kids all over the place still needing to pack, people still asking to use shampoo, people, like, it's crazy, right? So Kevin, of course, is being like annoying, but I forget how old, what is he, 10 or 8 or something? I forget how old he is in the movie, but he's a little boy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but little boys are annoying. So why are we blaming him for being something that we already know he is? Like, knock it off. So he's just all in the business, he's like all in his parents' room, jumping on stuff, reading stuff. And, his mom is on the phone, his dad's trying to pack. But that brings me to my next why. Why, young lady, are you on the phone when you're packing? You're about to leave to go on an international trip tomorrow. Who are you talking to? Who are you on the phone with? Somebody who's going to be in Paris? So then get off the phone. And you know how I know? Because they were talking about what they're packing. So why are you on the phone right now? Like, pack your bags. And you know what else kind of drove me insane too? Kevin's bags weren't packed. And you know this because one of the aunts is like, Kevin, go pack your suitcase. And he freaks out. He's like, pack my suitcase? That's one of my favorite lines, by the way. But it's just like, y'all really expected that little boy to pack his own suitcase for an international trip by himself without it needing to be checked? Like, because he's going to put a bunch of crap in there. He's not going to put like real stuff. He doesn't know how to pack his suitcase. And that's what he even told, like, his cousins and stuff, and they were no help. And he's like, I don't know. I've never packed my suitcase before. I don't know how to do that. And they're like, oh, one of them cousins called him incompetent in French. Girl, I don't care who you are or how old or where or what I don't know how to do. Why are you talking to me like that? Because I don't know how to pack a suitcase? Literally, like, who expects him to know that kind of stuff? So honestly, this video will probably turn into the people versus Kevin's mama, because why didn't you have his bags packed first? Maybe not first thing, but like, you should have made sure that was packed. Buzz can pack his own suitcase. Forget Buzz. He got so much lip, he can pack his own bag. But Kevin, he's a little boy. He don't know how to pack his suitcase. So there goes that, right? So then the mom is like annoyed, and honestly, everybody just like treats him like he's just this annoying little buzzard. And it's so funny because everybody always talks about how like Kevin got what he wanted. He didn't want to be around his family. Clearly the family didn't want to be around him. The family. So they, of course, like I said, everybody was staying at the McAllister's house. So they all ordered like a bunch of pizzas so they can just eat and then, like go to sleep or whatever like that, right? Mind you, this whole time, I mentioned how chaotic the house was. This whole time, there's been a stranger standing in their doorway, in their like foyer of the house. There's a stranger standing here who's been standing here. I don't care, police outfit or not. Who are you? Like, why are you in here? Who let you in? Who let you in and didn't tell nobody that you're standing right here? So Kevin ain't the only incompetent person in this house, because who let you in the door without saying, hey, there's a cop standing here and blah, blah, blah. Or there's some random dude standing here, blah, blah, blah. But everybody just walking past him like he don't exist. Crazy. That's crazy to me. Like, so the pizza guy comes and the guy's still standing here. Ain't nobody even talked to him yet. Ain't nobody spoke to Marv. Is he Marv? No, the skinny one's Marv. Jerry, Terry, Carrie, Larry. I forget Joe Pesci's character name in here, but it's Joe Pesci, and he's dressed up as a cop, standing in the door waiting to talk to somebody, right? Nobody's like coming over to talk to him about anything. The pizza guy gets here, delivers all 52 of them pizzas. And of course, Uncle Frank would be the one who gets the pizzas and don't pay for it. He never pays for anything. He didn't even pay for his ticket to go to France. So it's like, honestly, like all the commentary Uncle Frank has had this whole movie is really unnecessary. Because the second you can pay for your own flight, then that's when we want to hear from you. Until then, I don't know. No. And a first class ticket. You are riding first class on somebody else's dime and you're a grown man. Like, just come on. Right? So he takes the pizzas, but he's like, oh, it's my brother's house. He'll pay for it. Like, so finally, Mr. McAllister comes to the door with the money. And then Joe Pesci's character gets to talk to him, and he's just like, oh, we're just making sure that all the houses are secure during the holidays. It's a lot of robberies going on, and we want to make sure you have everything secured. And he's like, yeah, we got our lights on the timers. We got blah, blah, blah. He just don't know how much information he really is feeding into the enemy. The enemy is getting all your information about this house. This is crazy. He just don't know. So, everything is like, he's just like, I think he's just trying to like hurry up and brush him out, because he's like, I got these pizzas. This house is a madhouse. He don't even like watch him leave. Like, he's just like, not really paying attention, which is crazy. And then it kind of like hints that he's going to be the robber, because he smiles and he's like, everything is in good hands. And he smiles, and you can see his little gold tooth. And Kevin is looking at it like, ugh. Well, I mean, granted, he has an attitude too, because people didn't got on his nerves tonight. But still, like, he don't forget that gold tooth. So they go to the kitchen and they have the pizzas and everything. And everybody's sitting down. Everybody to help themselves to a piece of pizza. Wow, that was so weird. Here goes Kevin looking for a cheese, an all cheese pizza. Gone. He's like, did anybody save me a slice of all cheese? And here go Buzz with his mouth full. Oh, well, yeah, we had lots of it. But if you want any, somebody's going to have to barf it all up. Excuse me? What are you talking about? Somebody going to have to barf it all up, right? And, okay, I've never had siblings, so I don't know to the extent of how annoying they could be. But I've heard through the grapevine that they could be very annoying and they like to mess with each other. So I get it on like the whole, oh, I'm just kidding. Yeah, there are still slices of cheese pizza, but I just wanted to make you cry, or I just want to, annoy you really quick. Here's a slice. But no, he was dead serious. Like, they ate all the cheese pizza. What is wrong with y'all? Y'all know that little boy don't eat nothing else but cheese pizza? It'd be different if he eats pepperoni, sausage, and cheese. Like, he could have any other. Because then you go, oh, okay, well, just have a pepperoni. Then that's fine. But no, he eats all cheese. Like, nothing on it but cheese. And y'all ate it all? I'd have an attitude. That's after y'all treated me like y'all didn't want me in y'all room. That's after you called me incompetent because you told me to pack my own suitcase and I didn't know how. And I'm only 8, 9, 10 years old. And you didn't eat all the pizza. So I have an attitude. I don't like nobody talk to me. Honestly, that would have been me. Nobody speak to me. Nobody speak to me. Don't talk to me. Whatever, right? So he gets pissed at Buzz and he pushes him, right? And so I told you, it's 50 million people in this house. So any like unexpected move, knocking everything over. Buzz knocks somebody's milk over and somebody's squeezing Fuller into the little thing or whatever, which Fuller is Kevin's brother in real life. And he's so funny. He wets the bed all the time and he wears these big bug glasses, and they squeeze him into the little thing because they get up because the milk is all over the table. And of course they're all mad at Kevin and they're like looking at him and they call him some like terrible names. They called him a disease. They called him a twerp. Like, first of all, First of all, Uncle Frank is too comfortable talking to Kevin like that. Like, look what you did, you little jerk. First of all, I don't know who you're talking to, but you're not talking to my kid. Like, that's crazy. I don't care what he did. He's a little boy. You're not going to call him a little jerk. And to me, I feel like his mom didn't have enough mouth for everybody else who was being mean to him, but she had a whole lot to say about him when he retaliated. Like, that's crazy to me. To me, I just feel like this movie is more so about the fact that she did not have his back like she should have. Like, you really just dropped the ball in protecting your child. I said it. So what? I said it because nobody else is going to. You dropped the ball in protecting your child. And now you want to cry because you didn't left him at home. No. So, they're all mad at him, and he kind of looks at everybody, and then they just looking at him like, oh my God, you ruined everything. Y'all know y'all could have left that little boy a slice. Like, honestly, after all of the series of events, I would have had attitude. I probably would have pushed somebody too. And so what? Get over it. Y'all didn't care that I was hungry. So no. So, they go upstairs. They take him to the basement or whatever. The basement. The attic? The basement. The attic. I'm from California, so I don't know. Basement is at the bottom. Attic is at the top. Above the attic. Below the basement. I don't know. The point is, it's a room upstairs. And so they're having a conversation, and she's like, you're going to sleep in the bed with Fuller. And he's just like, I don't want to sleep with him. He's going to pee the bed or whatever, right? They're also having a conversation about how he's acting. And valid points. You guys did not leave me any food. You making me pack my own suitcase. You know I don't know how to pack. Where am I wrong? And she's just having all these things to say, and his attitude is bad. He needs to apologize. He's like, I'm not apologizing to nobody. And right, I wouldn't apologize to nobody either. And so, he's just like, I hate this family. Like, everybody sucks. Like, y'all are, and honestly, everybody did suck. Y'all are mean to him. Y'all are. And she was like, you would hate to wake up and not have a family. He needed to take a page out of Terry from Soul Food's book, The Family. I left the family in my house, and the family didn't even leave me a slice of a cheese pizza. So the family. I don't want to hear about the family. The family who called me incompetent in French. She didn't even have decency to tell me I was incompetent in English. She gonna tell me in French that I'm incompetent because I'm a little boy who don't know how to pack his own suitcase. Oh, wow. That's deep. That's really deep. Come on. So, she's just like, oh, you'd be sad if you woke up and you didn't have a family. With a family like y'all, no, I wouldn't. And he he's like, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Not with a family like y'all. Y'all are a different type of family that I don't know if I want. So no, I don't know. And so she's like, well, fine. Since you don't want to sleep with Fuller, you'll sleep by yourself in here. And then he's like, I'm sorry. Because he didn't want to sleep by himself. And she's like, too late. And she leaves him up there or whatever. And so he goes to sleep and he's mad. He is angry. This is where she drops the ball again. I really want to know specifically now how old he is. He can't be more than 10 years old. But I don't think he's any younger than 8. So he's in between those ages. The point is, with all that going on, did you set an alarm for him? Did you remember that he was up there by himself? Did you put an alarm clock up there? Did you pack his suitcase? Oh, okay. So all these things are going on when you have an international trip that you guys need to get up early and leave for tomorrow. What are you thinking? Really, you cannot be this mad at this little boy. He would have had to sleep in our room. That would have been the punishment. You sleep in here with me and Daddy. Come on. And you're going to pack your suitcase, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch you. And make sure you pack everything that you're supposed to. Because y'all still have a trip to go on tomorrow. If you really want to give him a severe punishment, work that out when you get to France. Y'all still have a trip unless you have a relative that he can stay with while y'all are there. But you didn't set that up either. Nope. You just sent him upstairs and you just hoped to God that he was going to get up a responsible young man. Like, are you kidding me? He's a little boy. So the next morning, they're all freaking out and they're running all over the house. And now, honestly, well, I don't know. Maybe he's a deep sleeper. Plus, the door was closed and it is upstairs. So he probably didn't hear them running all over the house and stuff like that. But they all woke up late and they're running around the house and they're getting their stuff together, trying to get in the vans for whatever reason. Or maybe it was like the city who sent them, those workers, to work on like the electricity pole or something. Because I'm like, why would you have them come out on the day that you're leaving? This family is just irresponsible. If they did, like, if those were their own private workers, they're irresponsible. Because why would you have somebody come out and do that? If it was the city or whatever, or HOA or whatever, I don't know, then okay. But they have all of that going on. So it's just constant chaos throughout this whole, like, first setup before they even get, to where they need to be. And so they're all running around and everything like that. They finally all get out of the house and they put one of the older cousins or whatever in charge of like doing a head count to make sure they have everybody. So much for that, because of course, as the story goes on, you leave somebody at the house. So much for your head count. But anyway, so this is how they mix him up though. Everybody's standing in line and one of the little annoying kids from across the street comes over and he's just all in their van. First of all, somebody should have told him to take a hike. Why are you over here in our business? Like, get out of the way. That's cute that you want to come by and say hi, but come by and say hi. Don't be all in the van and like, doing too much. Where are your parents? Right? So, and he's just like old and as tall looking as Kevin. So like his back was turned when she was doing the head count and she just assumed that was another kid. And then of course he gets out of the line and he's like saying bye, bring back something French. And he gets out of the line. So they all pile in the van. The adults get in the van. Mrs. McAllister asks the one who did the head count, did you count everybody? And she's like, yes, well, so-and-so girls, so-and-so boys, and a partridge in a pear tree. Smart. Like, you know what, Kevin, honestly, too, all these kids have bad mouths. Like, just smart. Just smart Alec. Like, you got a mouth on you. So, they're in the car, they're going to the airport, they're trying to hurry up. Again, they're running late. I'm gonna pause right here because I forgot to say that Buzz, the night before was talking about their neighbor, Old Man Marley, which is hilarious because Old Man Marley was also in the last movie review that I did. I said that twice. That was weird. He was also in the last movie review that I did, Christine. That is hilarious. Yes. So Old Man Marley, is their neighbor and he's like this old dude. You know when like they make up stories about like older people in the neighborhood and like these like fictitious things like, oh yeah, he like keeps all the bodies in he's a serial killer and he salts them and blah blah. Anyway, that was just an old man salting his sidewalks because of the snow. Like, Jesus, he was kind of scary looking though. So they saw him, but he's important because he's going to be throughout the story too. So anyway, fast forward back to when they're in the van, they're on their way to the airport, right? So they get to the airport and make it to, this was before TSA, so that's how they was able to make it. That's how they was able to make it through the airport as soon as they got there. Because, baby, that had been 2024 at LAX, y'all would have missed your flight. I'm telling you that now. Y'all would have missed it. Y'all wouldn't even made it in the airport by the time it was time to board. By the time your flight was scheduled for departure, you probably would have just checked your bags. So yeah, that wouldn't have worked. But this was in 1990. I don't know. They're in New York. No, they're not in New York. Where are they? Girl, I don't know. But they make it. American Airlines. And the adults sit in first class, the kids are in economy, and of course Uncle Frank is in economy and stuff like that when he don't need to be. He needs to be back there with them kids, but whatever. So back and forth, it goes back and forth from the airport on the plane to the house, right? So Kevin wakes up peaceful, quiet, but he's like, and so when you, it's a weird feeling. Like when you wake up, you like kind of have to remember what happened like the day before, especially if it was like an emotional night or like something, just off. So he's walking around the house and he's just like confused, like, where is everybody? And so then like he's kind of thinking like, wait, what? So he goes and checks and he's like, the cars are in the garage. They didn't leave for the airport. And he runs back and then he's like, oh, everybody's gone. I mean, the famous line, I made my family disappear. Right? Because of course he wished to Santa that he didn't have a family. I'm living alone. And so they're gone and he kind of like at first he's like, I made them disappear, but then he's like, wait a minute, I made them disappear. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. Peace and quiet, like nobody bothering me. Yes. So he's having a blast around the house. He's jumping on the beds. He's eating whatever he wants to eat, making a mess and stuff like that. And watching his favorite movie. What is it called? When Angels and Devils. When devils meet angels. Angels and but it was a fake movie that they made for the movie. And it's one of those movies that like little kids can't watch. And so he's like eating a big old bowl of ice cream. And he just keeps, every time he does something that he's not supposed to do, he just keeps saying, Mom and Dad, I'm doing so and so. You better come out and stop me. And, they're not going to come out and stop him, right? Because, well, they're not there. So it goes back to on the plane. And the parents are having a conversation. And you can tell she has like an unsettling feeling, like something is not right. And so she's like, do you feel bad with all the kids in coach and we're in first class? And he's like, no, they're having the time of their lives. Yes. Why wouldn't I in first class? See, put Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank needed to be in coach. One of these kids needs to be in first class. Okay, because we act better than Uncle Frank. It's childish behind. So, she doesn't have a good feeling like in here, like it's something going, and you can tell because when they go back to the plane, she's just like, did you do this? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, did you do that? And he's like, yes. You didn't close the garage. And he's like, that's it, I didn't close the garage, now you can relax. And this is where what really irritates me, right? Because not once did he feel an unsettling feeling, nor did he even think about Kevin. Because this whole time y'all are on the plane and everything, and y'all have not once said, where is that little booger? It ain't until y'all are high in the sky, and that's when she goes, Kevin! And she realizes that they have forgotten Kevin. They're freaking out. Like the whole family is around her because she's just like, oh my God, like my kid is at home. Yeah. Feel all your feelings because baby, that's crazy. Like they should have called CPS right then and there. They should have called right then and there. Okay? Because what do you mean he's at home alone? So after a few days, he kind of settles, gets into his groove of like living by himself, being a man of the house. He's doing laundry, he's cleaning up, all kind of stuff, and it just keeps going back to the saying that he's incompetent. And no, I'm not, baby, because I can go grocery shopping, I can get the fabric softener, I can do all of it. And he does. So now that they've discovered that they've left him, she tries anything to call people to get into contact with him and to make sure he's okay, to like check the house. But it's Christmas, everybody's gone. This is back when people really did used to travel for Christmas. Everybody's gone, nobody's at home to go by and check on him and stuff like that. She's trying to see if she can get flights back home, because she's like, you know what, y'all go to Paris, I'm gonna go back, because they have connecting flights, so they're in the airport and stuff and trying to figure it out. And she's like, but she can't get a flight either. She can't get a flight back that's like in time, like that same day. She would have to wait. A bunch of other flights are sold out. Like, it's a terrible time to have to go back home or anything like that, like at that time. Because like I said, nobody's at home to check on him, and you can't get back home as fast as like you would want to. So she's like all in the airport calling everybody. She's trying to trade like flight tickets and stuff while the family goes on to Paris and stuff like that. And again, still, they, don't act like you feel all that bad. You don't, because you didn't even think about him, right? So one of my favorite things in the movie is where he likes to use that movie that he's not supposed to watch, and he likes to turn it all the way up. And when he orders pizza and stuff, he gets out of, no, he doesn't get out of paying them because he leaves the money at the door, but he just likes to play like that little prank on him or whatever. And it sounds like the two mobsters in the house, and it scares the people off. And he does that twice. He does that to the pizza guy. And he also does that to Marv and Harry. I remembered it. Harry and Marv. Harry is Joe Pesci, and Marv, I don't know his real name, but they're the two burglars, the wet bandits, the sticky wet bandits. And so they're peeping the joint, and that's when you kind of see him for the first time. They're like in the van, and they're driving around the neighborhood and stuff like that. And you know, Harry is telling Marv, like, he's been eyeing this house, like, I've been wanting this house for the longest. Calm down. Calm down. Why don't you get your own ducats? Why don't you go to work? Okay? Stop robbing people in this little crusty van. It's kind of suspect. So so that's one of my favorite parts, is when he uses that for the pizza guy, and the pizza guy trips all over the thing, the statue in front of their house and stuff, because it sounds real. And then I really like it when he puts the fireworks in the pot for the burglars and plays the same thing, and then they're like really thinking somebody's in there too. All of his little tricks are really cool. So like I said, the burglars are trying to break into the house, but Kevin is like, no. And he gets so creative. Like, he just does things that are just so cool. And it's just like, it always, and me, I kind of like, when I was younger, I was like, oh, bet I'm going to pay attention to the tools I have around the house in case I need to use these. And it, like, you know, for something like that, because he did everything. Like, there's one scene where he wants to make it seem like he's not at home by himself. So he knows what time they're going to drive by the house, and he gets all these cutouts and like attaches them to the train, and he like puts them on there and starts the train throughout the house, so it looks like they're dancing and all the lights are on, the music is really loud, so it sounds like a party. And they fall for it, and they're like, I thought you said nobody's gonna be home tonight. And he's like, oh, I guess they're having family over or something. And it, from the outside, it really looks real, and he's just in there dancing and stuff like that. And when they drive off, he like is looking out the window like, and it's again another like little trick that he does. It's like really cool. It's really creative. One thing I will give credit, the neighborhood people. So when he goes to the grocery store to buy his groceries for the house, I give credit to the checkout girl, because should she have been concerned and asked the appropriate questions? Yes. For the sake of the movie, should she have just shut up and minded her business? Yes. Like, come on, don't be all in my Kool-Aid. I'm living my life. Okay, I'm buying my groceries. I'm being a good, upstanding citizen. Leave me alone. But in the real world, if you see a little kid in a grocery store buying some groceries with no supervision, your mama better be in the car. Like, she better be in the car. You better only be doing this because she is unable to get these groceries herself. But for the sake of the movie, leave him alone. Like, absolutely. And then the big, you know, situation. So when they finally decide to fully commit and break into the house, all kinds of mayhem. He's like, he paints the stairs, they're falling all over it. He puts the little hot thing on the door handle, so when they touch it, they burn their hand. He sets up that little thing so it's like they walk into the sticky stuff, and then they get hit with the thing of, you know, when people used to fill their pillows up with feathers. Either they get hit with the feathers, all kinds of stuff. Like that like whole thing was so creative. I just love it. Here's what I don't love. So the night that everything was supposed to go down, he makes his own dinner. He has a glass of cold milk and some macaroni and cheese. It's a pair I wouldn't do, but whatever. Nice, Kraft, cheesy macaroni and cheese. As soon as he takes a bite, the clock strikes and it's time for action. And it made me mad, because who ate that Kraft mac and cheese? So you mean it just sat there the whole time while you was like in the middle of battle, that's a waste of food. Whatever. So, like I said, he fights all of them off with all his tricks. Another one of my favorite ones is he has a treehouse. Mind you, I've always wanted a treehouse. Like, I've always wanted a little hideaway so bad. He has, how he gets to his treehouse is like from his room or Buzz's room, I forget. And he has a little hanger and swings on the thing. My favorite part is when they decide to swing, or no, they don't have the swing, but they decide to like rope it, I guess, around the thing, and he takes those scissors and goes clink and clinks it, and they both fall and hit each other. That's what's funny. Another funny part is where he has Buzz's tarantula and tarantula, whatever. He has Buzz's tarantula, and he's like climbing up the stairs, and he like picks it up and puts it on, which is hilarious because he was terrified of that tarantula. But like I said, all of this stuff made him gain a level of courage that he didn't have in the beginning of the movie, which I think is great. Mind you, while all this is going on, his mom hitched a ride with these guys that were going back into like the same place that she was going, and they were really annoying. If you guys really know your movies and you know Uncle Buck, you know that Uncle Buck is the one that gave her a ride, him and his band. And she met them in Scranton. It's the office. And it's funny because for the longest time, like, I was just like, okay. She was like, I've been to so-and-so, to where am I? Scranton. And I'm like, wow, Scranton, New Jersey. So yes, that is how she was able to get like the ride back, because they hurt her and they felt bad for her and stuff like that. And they, you know, offered her a ride with their loud band playing and tubas and trumpets and stuff like that. Another part in the movie that just did not sit right was when she called the police and she asked them to go check on her son. First of all, and they act like it was like a hassle to do it. So you want us to just go and check on your son? Have you never done a welfare check? What are you talking about? Yes, I want you to go to my house and check on my kid. Like, and the fact that they were just so annoyed. Why weren't you questioning her as to why he was there by himself in the first place? Like, some people really just do not be doing their job, and it be annoying me. All you're doing is wrapping presents and eating donuts, and then the donut falls on the phone. Like, that is nasty. But then here's the thing, right? So then the cop goes, he's another one not doing his job. The cop goes to the house and just knocks on the door. It's funny because my mom and I were talking about this the last time we watched it. Like, he just goes and knocks on the door. You don't announce who you are. You don't say, so-and-so sent me, I just want to make sure you're safe. He don't know who is knocking on the door, because by this point, he's still like kind of scared. Like, he's cool, like, oh, you know, I have a house to myself, but he's still kind of terrified. So he's not just gonna willingly go to the door in his robe talking about, hey, what can I do for you? Like, would you get real? Knock on the door and announce yourself. This is so-and-so PD, police department, sheriffs, just making sure you're okay, son. Your mom called and she wanted to make sure you're safe. She said she's gonna be home soon. I just want to make sure you're all right. No, he didn't do none of that. He knocked on the door and said, maybe we got the wrong house. Nobody's home. Everybody honestly felt that little boy. Like, if something had happened to him, everybody would have been at fault. Everybody. Because that doesn't make any sense. The only adult that came through for Kevin was Old Man Marley. And that's why you can't talk about people. Because they talked about that man. They called him a serial killer. They said he was weird. And Old Man Marley had his back. He hit, not Marv, he hit Harry in the back of the head with that shovel so hard, it was over. That's the only one who had Kevin's back. The entire movie was Old Man Marley. So, Old Man Marley good in my book. I've always liked him. You know what I mean? So, after they get caught at Old Man Marley's house, they call the cops. The cops arrest them and stuff like that. And watching Harry and Marv bicker is the funniest thing ever. And he's like, the wet bandits, we're the wet bandits. And the reason why he calls himself that is because every house they rob, they leave the water running. Just annoying. It's not bad enough that you took all of my valuables, but you running up my water bill and you flooding my house? This is crazy. So That's where they get their signature mark, because we leave the waters and faucets running and we're the wet bandits. And so Harry never agreed to that. So every time he says that, he's just like, shut up, Harv, shut up. It's really funny, right? So they send them off in the cop car and they get arrested and stuff like that. But then Kevin is like really kind of missing his family too, right? So he's just like, whatever. So the next morning he wakes up and he's just like, now he's kind of over being at home by himself. Now he misses his family, right? A door opens. Mommy's standing right there. And she's looking at him too, like, I know I messed up. I'm sorry. And he's looking at her like, yeah, you did. And he's like, he got this look on his face, but then they hug and they console each other. And then the rest of the family comes. And she wasn't expecting that, but they were like, no, we couldn't like let you come back and stuff and just like whoop it up in Paris. Like, no, we all missed him too or whatever. So she's like, what have you been doing around here? She was like, oh, now that we're back, I didn't go grocery shopping. And he's like, don't worry about it, I did. And they were like, you did what? And he was like, I went grocery shopping. I got the so-and-so, and the fabric softener. And they were like, you got all of that? Yeah, the same one who was supposed to be Mr. Incompetent got all of that. And so they were like, what have you been doing around here since you were by yourself? And he was just, just fooling around. Child, if they only knew, that man was fighting wars and killing. No, he was killing nobody, but he was knocking out robbers. They wouldn't mess with him. But here's my thing. So we did all of this. We learned all these lessons. We came together as a family just to turn around and do it again in Home Alone 2. That's why I didn't watch it. Because to me, how many times are you going to leave your child? I don't care how you got your hair cut. How many times are you going to leave your same son in different places around the world? And you don't think nobody should call CPS on you? I'm calling them. I'm calling them for the first incident. I don't even care about the second occurrence. I'm calling them for the first one. Because you have no business leaving that little boy. That don't make no sense. The mama is in the wrong. The daddy is in the wrong. Buzz, you in the wrong just because you wrong. And all them brothers and sisters in the wrong. Uncle Frank, you especially in the wrong. And how did he make it to the second movie? He didn't do nothing in the first. So, that is Home Alone. And I love it. Even though it's just so many things that's just like, I love talking about it. I love discussing how terrible human beings all these adults, except for Old Man Marley, all of these adults were in this movie. I love talking about how terrible all these little kids were in this movie. Kevin gets a pass. Kevin has a smart mouth. Kevin gonna get it, from somebody else. He had a smart mouth, but he didn't deserve to be left like that. He wanted to go to France too. That's crazy. Can you imagine that? So instead of me traveling for my Christmas and New Year's, I'm sitting at home fighting off burglars for y'all to turn around and do it again next year. Like, I'm traumatized. That boy needs a lot of prayer, a lot of therapeutic services to work all of that out. Every single thing, because the level of abandonment he has, had to endure over the course of his childhood is pretty jarring. So what would I rate this movie? I would rate this movie out of 10. I would probably rate this movie a 9.5 out of 10. And a 9.5 out of 10 because a lot of the stuff could have been avoided. Like a lot of the stuff could have been, a lot of the stuff that contributed to the chaos, but like didn't make the chaos, because obviously you needed the chaos for the movie. But they didn't all need to be at the house. They did not. It could have been a chaotic scene that morning or something. They didn't all need to be there the night before, getting on people's nerves, running up people's electricity bill. That's another thing. How much was y'all bills? And people always wondered that. What did Mr. McAllister do? Because you paid for the pizza in cash. Full cash, and that pizza was like almost $200. You paid for that in cold hard cash. And granted, you may have had cash before your international trip, but still, what do you do? Because you also paid for your no good brother's first class seat. to Paris, not first class to Oregon, to Paris. This is no tea, no shade to Oregon. I'm just saying, you didn't do a domestic first class ticket. You did an international first class ticket on top of paying for the pizza in cash. And that's what's crazy. Uncle Frank, if he paid for your first class seat, you couldn't have at least taken care of the pizza? Or the tip? Like, what's going on? Like, you cheap, man. You cheap. You real cheap. And then how much was that those tickets to come back home at the end of the movie, for all of them to be back home like the same day that the mom got back home? How much was that? Because I mean, if y'all was gonna get home at the same time, she could have just rolled with y'all. Like, she didn't need to be riding in a bus with a bunch of random musicians. Do you know how weird that is? A bunch of random, I mean, I guess that just shows the point of like she would do anything for her son. But would you really? Because you wouldn't have to do none of that if you would have remembered that he was sleeping upstairs with no alarm clock and no cousins, no nothing, no bag packed. You didn't do anything in that case. Yeah, no. If you can't tell, I have a bone to pick with that lady. She's a different species. But thank you for joining me. We are at 46 minutes and I'm done. This was a good movie to review. There was a lot of things going on in that movie. It was a lot of things to, talk about. We'll be back at it again with Almost Christmas, and it's going to be a lot with that too, especially during the dinner scene. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you really need to watch that movie. Almost Christmas is a very good movie. A lot of people like This Christmas. No, I've never liked This Christmas. I always had a weird energy around it, but Almost Christmas is, yes, chef's kiss. Thank you for joining me. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll be back with Almost Christmas, and then we'll be back in the new year with Sex and the City and Girlfriends. Bye.